got here tonight? I don't know if did the Leafs play tonight? Because the one thing I noticed last week, when the Leafs don't play, we always seem to have a really good attendance. Nothing to take away from our regulars that come each and every week. And I would imagine most of you, let's see. Yep, Steven's here. Nice to see you, Steve. Thanks so much. Richard's always here, as always. Always a pleasure to see you. Rob's in the house. Yes, we will be talking about you and all of the SAS Gold that joined the event this past weekend. Really love seeing the videos. And we have our special guest, Walt, on to discuss it. So we're looking forward to that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe are the Leafs playing tonight? Oh, Kevin's in the house. How you doing, Kevin? Nice to see you, buddy. Tony's here. Dean Howard, always a pleasure to see you. Andrew, finally got to meet you. Watch the video. I've seen the name. Obviously, we've done a few posts for you, but it's great to actually meet CFNers. So, Andrew, it was a pleasure meeting you. Ed McKenzie's here. How you doing, Ed? Nice to see you, my friend. Adrian's with us as well. Oh, there's a whole bunch of you tuning in. I love this. Kale, you're going to want to watch the video tonight too. I made sure you were a part of it. Brad's with us. Nice to see you, Brad. Oh, this is awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome. And Joe, I just want to remind everybody that, of course, we will be talking about it because we do have some announcements to make. But Joe has all signed up for our 7th annual CFN retreat up at Horwood Lake Lodge. Joe, we're looking forward to having you, and we're looking forward to going. As it is said, it is a highlight for most of our summers. So glad to have you aboard, my friend. Lloyd's in the house. Oh, we got a good contingent of Saskatchewaners with us tonight. Well, we definitely don't want to disappoint. Shane, nice to see you as well. Hopefully after our show this weekend, we will start making some concrete decisions on what we are going to be doing to mirror what happened this past weekend. Before we go any further, of course, if for those who don't know, it was, of course, the CFN Ice Jam this past weekend, and we had an incredible group of people that enjoyed themselves at Kenosee the Ice Jam, but at Kenosee Lake Lodge. They fed our friends very, very well, and judging by the smiles, either they made sure they brought their own beverage or they were looking forward to eating that night. But anyway, why don't, instead of me talking about it, let's bring in the one and only Walt. And what we will do is let's take a look back at the weekend that was.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? We're live here from Kenosee Lake, Saskatchewan. Beautiful Kenosee Lake, Saskatchewan. Just flip the camera around here. So we're gonna pop in on a couple of shacks and say hello to some people here. We got Lloyd.
I'm camera shy.
Hey guys. There's Rob. Right up here.
Yeah.
You guys having fun?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
It's a great time out here.
Good. Let's see who's in this shack here. Knock, knock.
Hello, friends.
Hey, everybody.
Hola!
Hello.
All right, you guys introduce yourselves. Tell people who you are.
Hi, I'm Cass.
I'm Eric.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Desmond.
This is Nova. Nova, say hi.
Nova, say hi.
Hi.
Cass, what does an event like this mean to you guys?
Well, last year's CFN trip was actually my first time ever ice fishing. And like Taylor said, it's just, everybody is so nice and so, everyone just wants to help. And just, as soon as I told people it was my first time ice fishing, everybody just wanted to jump in and
Very
give me
excited
tips.
for you.
And yeah. And well, I'm here again, so it's always a good time.
Right on. Knock, knock. Hello. Andrew, how are you?
Good, you?
Good. So we're live. So, Andrew, introduce yourself.
I am Andrew Crow from Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
And Andrew, tell us what does CFN or an event like this mean to you? What's
Just something to everyone to join in and get to know each other and just have fun fishing, telling stories, and enjoying the things that we're able to do in this country.
That's awesome. Knock, knock. You guys,
Hello.
introduce yourselves to everyone.
Hi, I'm Daryl from Redbird. Kel from Wynyard.
Oh, look what my hubby's doing for me.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is all mine.
He knows I get grumpy when I don't eat.
And we are now with Mr. Gord Empringham.
What's going on?
So introduce yourself, Gord, and if you wouldn't mind, just give people just a bit of a breakdown, or what does an event like this, and what does CFN mean to you, and what does it represent?
Sure. So, yeah, Gord Empringham, part of CFN. I don't know how many years now. I've been into it. I got into it through you, Walter. Seen some posts you did on Facebook there and thought this looks pretty good. So an event like this to me is just, opportunity to get out with a group of people that enjoy the same things I enjoy fishing, camaraderie, get together, have some laughs and tell some stories and just have a really good time. It's I look forward to it. This is only my second year, but I've been looking forward to it for the last year. I got to meet a great group of guys and girls last year, and a lot of the same ones are here again this year, and met some new ones this year. Quite a few new ones actually. So yeah, it's just it's a good time. It's a really good time. The fishing, catching the fish is just a bonus. It's getting together with everybody and having a good time.
Right on. Just to wrap things up, hope seeing this will inspire some of the other folks to join us maybe next winter at our next CFN 2026 Ice Jam. All right, you guys take care, and we'll chat with everybody soon. Okay, bye.
Unless, of course, we're going to chat with him now. Walt, how you doing, my friend? Always a pleasure to see you each and every time we get together. But I will say, dude, I can't thank you enough on behalf of CFN for hosting this incredible event. And dude, you look forward to it. I know you get excited about it, but are you chill now? Have you come down that adrenaline rush? Because I know what it's like having to organize this stuff.
Oh, I know. Well, first, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy actually putting this together. It's I'm probably a better planner than I am a fisherman, but I'll be the first to admit that. But I love putting stuff together like this, and seeing everybody out there and seeing the smiles and hearing the laughter. Like Gord and I were talking, that the one shack where Taylor and his buddies are in, there's, without a lie, there's not 5 seconds of silence that comes out of that shack. It is just nonstop banter and laughter. And I mean, we can hear everything they're saying. Our guts are sore from laughing so hard. It's just, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the next few days, we're sitting back home here. We're telling stories and, bringing people up to speed that didn't get the chance to be there. So we're repeating some of the stories, and you just can't help but smile. It's so much fun, and the feedback I got is just incredible. Just everybody that's been into it and experienced it now, they all want to come back. They don't want to miss a single year of this.
And that's awesome, dude. Because the one thing I will say is one, your entire family gets behind this, and I think that to me is very inspiring. Is to see your two boys involved, and of course Len, who supports all this. But what it represents to people that come and our mainstays, some of which are on this live tonight.
Yeah,
that we have grown with. We have shared a lot of good times and bad times. At the end of the day, what you've built out there in the province of Saskatchewan is a great representation of the province itself, but also the kind of people that are out there. And I will say this, Walt, on behalf of everybody out in Saskatchewan, as well as a good part of CFN, we love what you've done to grow our brand and to grow what it is that we're trying to push. And it was mentioned, I know we could have used everybody's take on what CFN reminds them of or what it means to them, but can't be here all night. But I will say I listened to each and every one, and it means a lot to hear it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's cool to sit where I'm sitting, and I'm sure a lot of others that do the same, like Dean, Tony, and Steve Shaw, and a host of others, to see what you're doing out there, because, again, we appreciate the work that goes into it, but seeing all the people that you have gathered and got to participate. But good on you, man. Good on you.
No, it's so much fun. I mean, we're looking forward to next year already.
That is awesome, and a lot of the folks that joined the event are chiming in here and basically mirroring what you just said in terms of what a great time. What I will have to say, outside of the gut busting laughter and number of jokes, are first of all, are there any stories you can share with us that won't get anybody offended, but will certainly bring us to laughter?
Most of those stories I think we'll save for off air.
Okay, very good enough. So what was, like, obviously, looking at the event for what it was, and I really appreciated you going live. I missed it, unfortunately, because I was making my way up to my own little nest egg to try and wet a line. But listening to what was said and some of the opinions and feedback that was shared, what was your biggest takeaway from this event this year?
Well, I think it's really clear that the first thing you realize is people are not there. Well, I think Gord said it best. Catching the fish is just the bonus. It's the camaraderie. It's the friendships. It's seeing people, the repeat faces from last year. It's seeing new faces. We had some new faces this year, which was great. But we also had some people that had messaged last minute that weren't able to make it. But we still ended up with 17 participants for the 2 days, which was great. But yeah, it's the camaraderie, it's the friendship, it's the socializing, it's the in the evening after supper, sitting around the table, we're having a great meal. I mean, the food at that restaurant is second to none. It's fantastic food. But afterward, we're sitting around and we'll get together in someone's room and have a few beverages or whatever the case may be. But then the visiting and telling stories and making up lies, that goes on till whatever hour.
And I will say too, the one thing I do love about our community, and I think this best represents our community, is the diversity when it came to what folks had at this event, whether it be a pullover tent or to the extreme that Daryl was in with Kale and the tow behind camper trailer. It doesn't matter. Whatever you bring to the table, it all means the same. The value is no different, but it's really cool to see the spectrum of what folks use for their hard water adventures. Because as I said, some of them are really, really well put together. You can see some thought went into this shack, but what Daryl had with the tow behind camper, I thought was awesome. Just as awesome as some of the pullovers.
Yeah. Andrew's setup, I think Andrew's setup impresses the crap out of me. Like, the guy is set up. He's put some thought into this.
Yeah.
He sleeps there overnight.
That's awesome.
And the temperature is dropping down to minus 25 or whatever the case may be. But he's set up. He's got the rubber floor in there. He's got the holes drilled. He's got his table for his food and drinks. So he's and then he's got the LED lights strung up in the tent. Yeah, Andrew's got a nice setup in there.
That is awesome. Well, I not that I want to rush away from this by any means, because I could talk about it all freaking night. But needless to say, obviously, I want to award our Saskatchewan chapter, and of course you, Walt, as being the first to hold an event in our 10th year anniversary. And you have claim to this, buddy. You won. The folks out in Saskatchewan, when it comes to our 10th anniversary, the first event to be celebrated during our 10th year of existence, I will say, goes to our folks out in Saskatchewan, because you guys put on a heck of a show. And I'll tell you, you've made it very difficult for us to come close. You've set the bar very high.
Yeah, no, before we go though, I just want to mention the reel that Shimano had donated and CFN donated. We gave that away Saturday night in the restaurant just before our meal. And Gord Empringham was the one that won that. So we put everybody's name on the wheel, the same wheel you use when you're doing draws, and we spun the wheel. Everybody watched. Everybody had a great time, and Rob had donated some door prizes as well, so we gave those away. And Taylor's got a video of some of it. He can share that with you. He sent
Right
that
on.
away. But we had a fantastic time at the restaurant. Everybody at the end of the giveaway, everybody was cheering. One of the other things was we all gathered in the restaurant, and this table next to us, the lady was celebrating a birthday. Well, as soon as they started singing happy birthday to her, all 17 of us chimed in. The rest of the restaurant was singing happy birthday to her. So
That's wild.
she was surprised. It was yeah.
Nice.
They weren't part of our group, but they were instantly part of our group at the same time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where you found the time because, as I said, hosting an event like this is not easy, and to have the kind of people that showed up certainly helps because they don't ask for much; they're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
But still, again, I do appreciate the work that goes into it, and of course, having that claim of our first event in our 10th year anniversary. I think it's important that we maybe talk about how this year is going to be different than next. And one of the biggest reasons, and this is another reason why I wanted you to come on, was we are unveiling our 10th anniversary commemorative jersey. And of course, the reason we're doing this is in an effort to raise funds for our Derby on Wheels, which is yet another initiative that I think all of us here at CFN are extremely proud of. And what it's going to represent, and we finally got it's actually something now because it's on paper, but basically, without reading it all, and of course anybody that wants it will get a copy of this. But Walt has helped out in a really big way because, as I said, at the forefront of all this is the sale of these incredible jerseys that you helped design. And I do have to call our good buddy Dan to finalize the legacy members purchase, and they are the first run of jerseys that are available. But what I am so proud of is, one, Walt helped design what I think is a kick-ass jersey, and it has many, many different variations and options for you. But at the end of the day, all of the proceeds, every last penny, is going towards our Derby on Wheels. And you're going to find out more about that as we progress on. But Walt, tell us a little bit about the jersey and what we can expect going forward after I reach out to Dan.
Well, first of all, the company that's making these jerseys is Canadian, and with everything that's happening right now in the news, I think it's important that we support our Canadian industry. So first of all, we're supporting a Canadian industry that way. We're a Canadian company. But secondly, not only are these guys Canadian, but they are probably, from what I've seen, one of the world's leading jersey manufacturers. They put out a quality product. I mean, they supply jerseys to a lot of outfits and a lot of professionals, including Gussie and Coop. Those guys, they get their jerseys through these guys too. Mm-hmm. So we're extremely pleased that we're partnering up with them and that they're the ones making these jerseys. But then as far as the options go, as far as what's available to us for order, well, we have the option of a long sleeve or a short sleeve. There's two different fabric options. There's what's called the mesh. I think it's called bird's eye mesh, which is very similar to the existing CFN jersey. But there's also this dry wick. I'm not sure what the technical term for it is, but it's a much thinner, smoother fabric. And so you have the two fabric choices. Then you have, I believe there's 3 or 4 different collar options. So the choices are going to be fantastic. So when you get to the point where you're ordering, you're going to specify which province you're from. You're going to specify men's or women's jersey, the size, and the sizes go from, the sizes are incredible as far as what they offer. There's something for everyone there. And then you pick your fabric and you pick the style of collar that you want on it. and then you specify what name you'd like to put on the front of the jersey and what name you put on the back of the jersey. So if on the sample you showed, it has the Ontario logo on the back. But if you specify that you're from Saskatchewan, obviously the Saskatchewan logo would take that place, and the Ontario logo would move down to the lower band where all the provincial and territory jersey logos are situated. So yeah, every province will technically have its own unique design. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And then the company that's making these, they take care of the entire ordering process. They'll have a website. You click on their website, you go to shop by brand, and you'll see the CFN logo as one of the options. If you click on that, it'll take you right into the process of ordering, where you specify the province, like I said, size, fabric, sleeve option, collar option, and then name front and back. So,
and we will make sure, and Gord, you're more than welcome, my friend. And yes, a big shout out, thank you to Shimano, of course, for making that donation available. But of course, a worthy event, and they were pretty excited to sponsor it. But we will definitely have you back when it comes time to going through the whole order process. I really love how you've laid it all out, and of course, have made folks aware of what it is that is upcoming in terms of new fabric, new designs, and of course, tons of options. Which, of course, I got to thank the folks that Dan. I'm not even sure what's the name of the company.
It's Valley Fashion Outdoors.
Valley Fashion Outdoors. Well,
out of Winnipeg.
That's awesome. Looking forward to it, Walt. As always, my friend, thanks so much for all you do out in Saskatchewan. And I'll tell you this: you can take the rest of the night off. You've earned it.
I appreciate it, buddy. You guys, you take care, and we'll chat soon.
Right on, buddy. You take care of yourself.
Cheers.
Well, as I said, it's an honor to have groups like Saskatchewan, like our Saskatchewan chapter, doing wonderful things and just enjoying each other's company. I thought that was really cool. And again, big shout out to Walt for hosting that and putting that on. Our next event is upcoming this weekend, this Sunday. In fact, we're going to be in Chatham. It is the Made in Canada Tackle Show. Of course, not to beat a dead horse or continue down the narrative that is, which everybody's talking about, which of course is the tariffs. I think more importantly, in talking to Brad, who is partnered up with me to do this, or I've partnered up with him, depending on how you look at it. I think what has happened and what I truly love, and folks, I would love to hear your opinion when it comes to these tariffs. Has it not called us out as Canadians to become more cohesive and fight the power, if you will, that is what we're about to embark on? I love some of the feedback that's coming. Well, you know what? We're just going to have to do this. Well, you know what? We're just going to have to do without that. I think that is so awesome that we're already looking at alternatives. That, you know what? Yeah, maybe I don't want to travel to the U.S. this year. And of course, everybody that was booing during the national anthem, I would never condone that, because I think out of respect, that is just something that should be untouched. But again, you have to understand, if you're Canadian and you feel the way a lot of folks do right now, this has certainly come out of nowhere. And I will say it's a call to order to all Canadians that we either get behind Canadian made and buying local and supporting local in a big way, or you know what? Who knows what this guy is going to do to us? At the end of the day, don't leave it up to him. Let's just find different alternatives. And I think one of the best ways is to join us out in Chatham and support the Made in Canada Tackle Show and all of the vendors, wicked vendors that are going to be there on Sunday. We're going to have set up on the Saturday from 4 to 6:30. We're going to be surrounded by CFNers and a lot of great people. We are going to be at the John Bradley Convention Center. These are some of the vendors that are going to be there. Border City Bass Masters. We've got Cool Front, Thirsty Lures, Handlebars, JVM. I mean, the list goes on and on. And as I said, really honored to have all of you there, and look forward to seeing you there in Chatham. So again, lots of great things happening in CFN land. We are lucky enough to have a community like we do, that we can be able to do what we do on the regular. But I will say this, I am looking forward to what should be a great event. In the meantime, if you are looking for a hat or any other kind of swag that Richard is more than happy to help you out with, these are some of the hoodies that we have available. These are very, very light hoodies, so you can wear them anywhere. And of course, these are the flex fit hats. So this was a big one for me. I'm wearing the Canadian bass hat, basically because there's something upcoming that we will be discussing quite in depth of what CFN is going to be a part of, and this big event that's going to be happening out in Kingston. And if anybody has been following Canada Bass, you already know what that is. But stay tuned and hang on to your hats, because it is going to be something that we're all proud of. Also, Walter's talked about the jerseys. I want to help Christelle, of course, the Matagami Lake. This is the annual ice fishing derby that goes on each and every year. It is going to be February 22nd, 8 to 4. That QR code is how you can register. If you have any other issues, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Jessica or Christelle. There are their phone numbers there down in the bottom right-hand corner. They are looking for 200 registrations. I'm not exactly sure where they're at, but maybe we'll be talking to them in an upcoming Wednesday to discuss how it all looks. But yeah, in the meantime, if you love your toothy critters and you want a chance to win some money, this is a great event. We are going to be up at Horwood Lake Lodge for our CFN retreat, as we mentioned. If you are looking to book like Joe Vitani just did, reach out to Warren and Doris. Don't hesitate. That is all the information you need there. Of course, we are also going to be holding the North Channel Walleye Open. Nick, Danny, and myself are slowly putting together what should be an incredible event, and that's what you could win if you register. And we already have registrations that are filing up. That's based on an 80-boat field. I'm thinking it might be a little bit bigger than that when it's all said and done, but we're hoping that we get the 80 boats. And right off the bat, big shout out to Shimano, the Trading Post, and Garnett's Rental for stepping up in a huge way and already signing on as big sponsors. So big shout out to them. Really appreciate that. And of course, right after that, we're going to be down at Camp McIntosh. This is for the 4th annual OFC Nation retreat. That's all the information that you need there in regards to it. Everything is basically supplied. If you want to bring your own boat, just make sure you let Tracy know. And of course, it is Monster Monday. And if you want your chance to catch a monster just like our good buddy Kevin did, please reach out to Andre and Tracy to make sure you get your butt booked in a bed. Without further ado, let's bring in the one and only Big Jim McLaughlin.
When he was born, he tried to reel in the umbilical cord. Bass named him as their personal best. His power pole came with a stripper. Forward-facing sonar uses him to find fish. Chuck Norris is his co-angler. He is the most interesting fisherman in the world. Stay fishing, my friends.
Jim, it goes without saying, the most interesting fisherman in the world.
You're freezing up on me.
Am I?
There you go. Yeah.
The
You're
most
good now.
interesting fisherman in the world. Wow. I can honestly say I don't think I will ever have that engraved on my tombstone. So the honor goes to you, my friend.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh, what have you been up to lately, Jim?
Well, not much. Going to the gym. I had my granddaughter out on the gym to the weekend there, and she did her first deadlifts ever under the ever what would the word be? Watchful eye of Lacey. It was kind of cool to watch her do it, and she got all the way up to 135 pounds. So that's that was pretty impressive actually for a start. I know a lot of young boys that couldn't do that.
It is very true, and I will say, because I do as I said, I know the backstory of all this, and I know how much you're beaming with the thought.
She's getting ripped.
Yeah, dude.
She sends me a picture the other day, and she's making an arm and taking the picture in the mirror. She's got a bicep, and her back, the muscles across all her shoulders are just sticking right. Lacey almost crapped when she saw the picture.
That's incredible.
She couldn't live. The kid goes to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. She's a changed person. She had some problems and she's a changed person.
Well, good for you, Grandpa. Great, good for you. Yeah, good for you.
I thought it was. I love the way the guys from Saskatchewan. They didn't give a damn if they caught a fish. They're not fishermen. They're weekend guys. They're weekend fishermen. You know what I mean? And it's just so cool to see them like that and all having fun. They're just having a good time, and that's the part of fishing I never got, because everything had to be tooth and nail.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely. And I got to tell you something. When you use the word arse, okay.
Yes.
You're familiar with the McLean brothers, eh? They're both gone now, but Gary and Blair McLean.
Yes. Yes.
They were wild. They hung out with Burton Cummings.
Yeah.
They were a trio together. They did all kinds of stuff and everything. I sat in a hotel room one night in the Chelsea Inn in Toronto with them, and they came up with the fact that if you call somebody an ass, they're an ass. But if you call them an arse, it's absolutely derogatory. There's something about the term arse, and it's true.
Wow.
It really is true. And to this day, I think about that because those guys are absolutely wild, eh?
Well, and the stories, they have the stories to prove it.
Yeah. Oh, I've been fishing with them. I've spent so much time with them, drank so much beer with them, had a great time with them. It's hilarious, like the antics, like the things that they got up to, that they did, and they didn't give a damn. And here they are. I met them years ago when I worked in the bars as a bouncer at the Black Swan, and that's where I met these guys and got to know them. I've been blessed to have so many good friends from the music business, the entertainment business. But yeah, they were. As soon as you said that, I was sitting here tying a jig. I just burst out laughing.
That is funny.
Came into my mind. It was funny. So no, it was good.
Well, speaking of special events, I do believe that you celebrated a special event this past weekend.
Oh, I got older.
Was it your 32nd or 31st birthday? Which one was it?
41st.
Sorry, I know I should do better. I apologize, Jim. Next year, I promise I'll nail it.
It's really funny. I looked this morning when I got up because I was thanking people for the birthday wishes. Thanks, Lloyd. I had way over 1,000 in 2 places on social media. Birthday wishes.
Wow.
And I showed Grace my phone sitting in the gym on Saturday morning. And I had I've never seen my phone where the little thing is for texts. It said 61.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've never seen, I've seen 15, 20, but not 61. And in the time we drove from the house to Kingston, because everybody got up Saturday morning and saw it and wished me, all the people I knew. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's a good feeling, though. We had a good time, and they went in. They asked me what I wanted for dinner, and I said, well, do me a favor. Tammy and Grace went into Farm Boy, and they went to where they've got all those hot plates and salads and things. I said, I don't want to screw anything up, so find me a bunch of stuff that's just like some meat and vegetables and stuff, eh? And they filled up one of the boxes you can buy. It's like $5 a pound or whatever it is. You fill it up there. They got that for me, and I had that, and it was just awesome. I loved it.
That's awesome. Well, listen, at the end of the day, you're a huge part of this community, and it's awesome to see where you've gone, where you've come from, now what you're dealing with, and how well you're dealing with it, I might add. But at the end of the day, dude, you have certainly paved the way for a lot of us. We have you, to thank for all of this, man. Like, honestly, there's so much that you've had a hand in, and I'm sure you've forgotten some of the names that you've helped out over the years. But I sit back, honestly, Jim, and there are times when I will look at a feed, I'll look at a post, I'll look at a video, and I will say, all this came from the Bob Azumis of the world, the Big Jims of the world that sort of pushed this. We all had an inkling and a love for angling. And maybe at the time we didn't really express it because it was one of those things you did at the cottage, or maybe it was one of those things you did on trips or whatever. And it wasn't really spoken of around, say a Thanksgiving table. You guys have made fishing, something that has been known all over Canada and all over the world. And you've had a huge part in that. And again, the fact that we're able to celebrate a birthday with you is just a small reward for what you've done and accomplished over the years. So, dude, hats off to you.
Good. Hey, you're like, you can take the price tag off your hat. Eh? They're going to let you keep it. Eh?
Well, I'm not sure I'm allowed to. That's why I'm keeping it on.
Okay. It's all good with that. I wrote, you know something else? So I found out today. So I decided that if I'm going to stick around for a while, I better get a couple of new shirts made because some things have changed on them. So I phoned Edmund at the State Apparel.
Yep.
In Toronto there, and I got them. And I'm talking to Lee, and he sends me over an email. And he says to me, don't forget, whenever you're doing anything from here on in, the Loomis fish is history. Eh? It's gone, eh?
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, good.
Yeah. They've had enough of it. Everybody copies it, and they can't send letters to everybody. So, but like you started seeing this in the last couple of years.
Yep.
And that's what the thing is. So I'm sitting here, and I'll show you a picture. No, wait, it's not in the pictures. It's in here. I'm sitting, look, he sends me over my final approval thing for my shirt. And I look at it. And look what's in the top corner there.
The fish.
The fish. So I call Edmund. 20 minutes before I told Edmund the shirt's good to go do it. I call him and they've already made the sections that, the way they made the sections of the shirts. They haven't sewn them together yet. So we only have to change a couple of panels, the way they're in pieces. He only has to change it on a couple of panels and he's going to get it changed. And I told him, hey, whatever it costs, I don't mind doing it. But yeah, I know that's kind of neat that the way that happened, because they didn't get $250 worth of shirts here.
And it's a shame they got away from that because it was replicated a lot, but I will say it was, talk about brand recognition. That fish, man, I'm telling you,
that's why it kept, everybody had it as their logo.
Yep.
I mean, there was companies, there was guys that I knew had letterhead with that fish copied exact with their name put in it.
Yeah.
Like they didn't put an extra tooth on the fish or whatever, And a lot of them got, letters, cease and desist. There was whatever they found them, So it's one of those things. But
yeah, knock on wood, I haven't received one yet, thankfully. I
for what?
Cease and assist.
For what though?
Well, anything. Like, I mean, anything. These lives,
Well, here's the ones I've received.
I was gonna say, stop doing lives with Scottie. Stop. Yeah, I could see it, buddy. But no, seriously, I mean, it's probably one of the most recognized logos, if you will, in the industry.
Without a doubt. Yeah, no, there's doubt about that.
Like I'm thinking of like Berkeley, I'm thinking of Rapala, I'm thinking of Shimano, Daiwa. Like those are prominent names. Now you obviously start to see some of the electronics like Humminbird, Garmin, whatever. But when it comes to a logo that is unique, but not unique to the sense that it represents a good majority of
people that don't even fish have that on their kayaks, and
exactly what I meant.
It's just a cool logo. It's one of those things. It's one of the best ones ever. So I got to say, I don't get political in public. It's a waste of time. It's a lose-lose. It doesn't happen. Okay. I talked with a buddy of mine this afternoon about this, and I said to him, I can't stand Trump. I don't see anything he stands for. He's a narcissistic. He's foul. He's vile, and this has no bearing on anybody else in the United States. No bearing. That's just the way I feel about him. And then at the same time, I look back and I say to myself, so for all my lifetime, we've advertised that we have the longest unprotected border in the world. And now all this shit happens after we begged, these cartel guys. I did some research this afternoon on real credible things before when I was talking to my buddy about this. The southern border of the United States saw them confiscate. Catch this. And I went to 4 or 5 places to verify this. So it's not, I don't go to Facebook to find my stuff. And last year they confiscated over, catch this, 10 tons of fentanyl. That's what they confiscated. That's what they got their hands on. Okay. The Canadian border, it was a little over 19 kilos. So I don't think we quite compare in what's happening, you know?
Jim,
You know what I'm saying?
I listen. Whether you like Trump, you're for Trump, are in favor of Trump. Again, I'm not going to judge you based on that. But what I would love to know is, to our fellow Americans, and I say this with all due respect, are you buying this crap? Like, are you actually buying this stuff? Like, this whole thing about trade. I mean, there has been an inequality, an unbalance.
Look how big they are compared to us.
Oh,
We can't buy enough stuff from them to make it even. There's only what, 41 million of us? And it's gone up about 3 million, I think, in the last few years.
And it goes on and on. Now, thankfully, and I was talking to Brad earlier today, and sporting goods isn't something that's going to be affected first. Now, we all know, if you've listened to the news, how this happened, I have no idea, but Trudeau managed to negotiate a ceasefire of sorts.
Look what he offered up. They're going to have a joint task force on the border. They're going to put all the troops, $200 million. I mean, this is what they needed to do a long time ago. Why do you think we have half these people here? We shirked our responsibility, and we got called by a guy that I couldn't stand. So I sort of got to give him a bit of, and he did it to Mexico too, and you got to give him props for that.
The only thing that I will give Trump credit for is he has challenged us to be better.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's just challenged us to be better.
But there's only 3 years and 11 months to go.
And it might be hard for us to hear it from someone like him. But I think it's like anything else. I think we've gotten away from telling folks the truth because they can't handle it. Well, at the end of the day, this gentleman has called out Canada. He has said, you guys need to be better. Now, he's done it in a way that makes him look kind of ridiculous, but I thank him nonetheless.
But it worked.
And this is the thing. It almost worked overnight. Like he announced this going into his inauguration. And then once inaugurated, he stood fast on his claim that this is what he was going to do. And I think at that point, people were still, I don't believe him, blah, blah, blah. No, listen, when this man says he's going to do something, he does it. There's no if, it's when. Now that he's done it, and I think he is starting to see, like all of us, that this is actually going to have more of an effect on your own people than us.
Well, his approval rating yesterday had dropped to 37%. So that means that a lot of the people who voted for him. But anyways, I don't want to talk about politics anymore.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, what we can sit back as Canadians and say, we have been challenged, and we have already met the challenge. So I just think it's awesome. Just keep it going. Keep her going.
Yeah. No, it's a good thing. I thank him for what he did, because it'll make our border safer.
Amen.
I mean, like I said to you, I thought this afternoon when I was thinking, how long have we advertised it as unprotected? Now both of us did that, but still, And I was happy to see that our fearless leader also eventually came up and said, eventually declared the cartels as terrorists, which they are. But
I hate to say it too, because I'm certainly never in favor of anything that goes on with the cartels, but they exist because there's a demand. If there wasn't the demand, we would need the supply.
I saw a guy post a thing on Facebook the other day, and he said, if the Mexicans were smart, they'd cut off the supply of drugs to the States and bring them to their knees in a week. And there was another one I saw today. Cut the power on Super Bowl Sunday with a half hour left in the game.
Well, I think, listen, I would never condone booing a national anthem.
Oh, I didn't like that. I really did.
I have to say, there's certain things that we have to leave untouched, because there's got to be some kind of decency in this world. And when I saw
so many of the posts on one of the things here from the senators, and the amount of good American folks, and like I said, my dislike for Trump has nothing to do with anybody else in the States.
Yep.
And there was so many folks from the States that said, I understand exactly where you're coming from. You guys are the most peaceful, non-confrontational people in the world.
Mhm.
And a guy, pulls the heavy on you. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. And then there was one guy came on and said, "It's only a matter of time until he mobilizes our troops, and we just take what we want."
Well, yeah, there's unfortunately an accord that was resurrected long before any of us were even around that unfortunately won't allow him to do that. But anything's possible with this guy. It's anything. You can't take anything
I want
off.
to see how quick the Russians would be our friends.
Oh, well, I don't know if that just got worse or better.
I don't think they could do anything anyway. But
Asgard, great comment. It's like you believe what Republicans are all about, but Trump is a bad representative of the party. So what are we going to do? And I think that's a great way to answer it. At the end of the day, I think folks just knew that a change was necessary. How it all came to be through the course of the election. Again, I'm not an elections expert, but it happened. He got voted in, and now we're all going to have to deal with it. And unfortunately, somehow, some way, we've been drawn into this fight.
I think it'll be okay.
I think so too. I think
he did what he wanted, or otherwise he's a liar.
And that's it. I was kind of surprised when we saw that. We all saw that. You shared that with me, and I was actually literally watching on the news. I'm thinking, knowing he's got there's a pride factor there. He didn't give in that quickly for no reason. There's got to be something to it. But anyway, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll find out.
As long as he doesn't touch our fish, it's okay.
Well, this is, and to George's point, now back to fishing. And of course, the one thing that we have said, Jim, we have seen, I would think, based on frequency, larger fish were definitely caught so far this ice season.
A lot of them have been showing anyway.
Yeah, the ones that have been shown, they seem like our fish are getting larger. But something that we can't stop talking about, and I'm almost to the point of exhaustion, but if it's going to save a person's life, I don't think we can talk about it enough. And that is the number of videos that we are seeing shared on folks that are on questionable ice.
The one I sent you today with the 15 or 20 trucks sunk on ice again. How many times do you have to look at a video and they're parked right at the shore? How many times? I don't know where that was, if it was Simcoe or where it was, but it was somewhere.
And it happens. That's not the first time it's happened on that ramp. I've seen videos from that particular ramp several times in corresponding years. So it's obviously an issue. I know Jay's going to talk about pressure cracks during his segment, something that he experienced on the weekend that I think we all need to be cognizant of. But at the end of the day, folks, if it takes 2 seconds or it takes 2 minutes, make sure if you are talking to people that love hard water angling and ice fishing, just mention them yet again. Just be safe, be cognizant, be aware of your surroundings, because it can change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, we got that post-fest thing coming up in town here, and the guy had the pickup truck out the back here there cleaning the ice off. And I said to him, "How thick's the ice?" And he says 22 inches. So, but that's been frozen here since the end of November, right? So,
but not soon enough until someone drove out on it. I remember you saw we shared the video back and forth together. Yeah. Someone, I don't know if they got their bearings wrong or they were listening to Waze or Google Maps, but it led them out on the canal, and eventually they got far enough and they broke through. And I'm just thinking,
I saw that the guy driving. Yeah,
why? What?
It was a lady.
Okay, it was a lady. Okay,
it was a lady. Yeah. She didn't drown, did she?
I don't know, and I didn't.
Yeah, I remember that. You see, it's like just the car's just zipping from right to left. Yeah,
and they have video, like a long video of her driving. It seemed like the whole length of the freaking canal, and I'm thinking,
where was that?
Around.
Where was that?
It was in Ottawa. It was on the Rideau Canal. You know the canal that freezes over and they skate on it.
Yeah, the Rideau Canal's got 20 inches of ice on it right
now.
Well,
it was obviously it didn't have 20 inches in time enough to get this lady back to safety, because eventually she drove to
right at the beginning of the year. Or something.
It was, and I think it showed up in my timeline again. But I mean the amount of time that folks recorded her.
Because like I know that like the back of my hand. I grew up on the Rideau. I grew up at the bridge,
Yeah.
Victoria Bridge, the old bridge that goes up and down. I was like 100 feet away from it. Yeah, she must have went on one of the ramps where there's a boat launch at Dow's Lake you could have went on from, but then she would have had to drive all the way across Dow's Lake and all the way that went on. Whatever.
I don't know.
Scary.
was-
You wonder
yeah,
how that
it was
happens.
scary.
You should
Scary
see the
indeed.
people out on that. They were showing it.
Wait a minute. Steven's saying it was on the river to Kempville. Oh, so I got it wrong. It wasn't the Rideau. Unless we're talking about two separate things. We might be talking about two separate things then.
Yeah.
Because the video that I saw was where everybody does the skating
Yeah, because a couple of years ago there was a woman drove a car down the Rideau River.
Mm-hmm.
Just got past underneath the bridge at Manotick, and there's an old bridge piling, and there's current, and it never closes. And it showed a picture of her sitting on top of the car. It got stuck in the ice.
Oh, well, that's another one altogether. Yeah. Wow. Well, Jim, what have you got planned for this week?
This week we got finishing up a bunch of stuff here. I tied a bunch of jigs for Chris Bain up there in Sault Ste. Marie. About 250, I think it is. I got or whatever it is, but I almost got them done. I got like 12 more to go. Nice. So if you wouldn't have been bugging me tonight, I'd be done now. No, just kidding.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah. Cover up! You're going down. Not in a car.
No, boy.
I got that. I'm going to hit the gym, and it's sort of like the calm before the storm for me because I have to go. I have to go to the spring fishing show for one day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go over on Thursday night, and I'll be there Friday, and I get to present the Rick Asbury Award to somebody that's a really good friend.
Oh, cool!
And I've been working on what I wanted to say. I've got about. I think I'm going to go up and I'm going to bring up about 50 sheets of paper and drop it on a podium. Like it's going to take like a week, and it's really only going to be 2 or 3. And I got to have nice big.
That's so cool.
Read it. But I think I got about 10 lines that I'm going to describe them with, one-liners, and a few of them, and then I'll get them to come up, and I get to give it to them.
Wow!
Because I wasn't going to go to the show this year. I'm having real trouble moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not having so much trouble moving as I am standing still. I cannot stand still. As soon as I stay in the same spot, like I got gas this morning and here at 6:00 in Gan, and I was down to like 120 kilometers, and I had to fill it up, and it's like $110 worth. It's only $1.39 or something. It was this morning, and it was all I could do. I had to walk around the truck a few times. Lucky it has the little clip to hold it on.
Yeah,
but I could not stand I could not stand that long.
Jeez.
And I don't know what we're going to do about that, but it's what it is, and it's not going to get fixed. So I'll just keep going to the gym, and I got a couple of chairs there. I got my taku chair now.
Nice.
My stool, and I'll bring my use. I told Andy, I said, if I get up on a podium, that's fine. I know there's a rail on the stairs. I'll get up and do that. But I said, you got to have a stool on the stage for me. Just something to lean on. I don't have to sit. Well, you've seen me in the boat. Out in the boat for 7 hours. There's something to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
Sit on once in a while, I'm fine, but I cannot just stand straight. The back of my body, from like right at the base of my spine over my butt, the pain is like it's offside.
Wow.
It's offside. So
well, sorry to see you struggle, dude. Sorry to hear you struggle, and hopefully
ain't going away.
Yeah,
screw it.
I hear that, buddy. Listen, as always, thanks so much for all you do for our community, what you've done in the past for our community, and what you continue to do for our industry as a whole. Buddy, can't thank you enough.
I'll show you who's boss in this house too. Tammy, make me a prime rib right now.
Okay, and on that note, we've got Lawrence coming up right after a word from our sponsor.
He just came up from the basement.
Good luck, Jim.
He is again.
Go easy on him, Tammy. can't seem to connect to Lawrence. So if you're listening, Lawrence, unfortunately, your devices are not connected. So I will wait. And I know Jay is probably backstage right now, but there we go. I knew he would be our savior. There he is, the one and only Jay Barnucz.
What is happening, dude?
Love the fact that you were on the ball like you are. Not really sure what happened to Lawrence, but he was there. Fortunately, his devices aren't connected, but we get
well, you get another note in his file, and then Jim will bring him into the HR office again. Your HR office gets busy sometimes, Scotty. The CFN HR office, no fooling around in there.
I would like to now do an official count to find out, are there more notations on Lawrence's file, or have we had more references about narwhal?
Yeah,
I don't know what
I think I was sliding there for a while, but I think Lawrence took the title. So yeah. So if anyone knows, Jim is our HR delegate for CFN. So any issues we have with staffing, Jim is our delegate. So it's all good. It's all good, man.
Jay, we talked about with Jim's segment. Obviously, I don't know if you've noticed, because I know you're not as prevalent on social media as you once were, and for obvious reasons. One, you're just a busy man. But I have to ask, have you seen a bit of a trend at larger fish being caught this year? And obviously, we can say that with some degree of certainty because, of course, we didn't have much of a hard water season last year. But the typical places that got ice still got ice last year. And we're producing some big fish, but I have to say, all in all, on a whole, I've seen bigger fish this year.
I think it's a combination of bigger fish and just better fishing in general. I think that there was some cool dialogue on the Crappie Chronicles, the show that they do out of Minnesota. And if anyone doesn't follow it, Crappie Chronicles is a show based out of Minnesota, out of the Twin Cities. And they fish for crappies in urban lakes. And these guys are legitimate sticks, these young guys, and they chase big crappies. In every episode, they're catching like 14, 15. I think this year, one episode has 17-inch crappie. And they're trying to do this sort of under the idea that we're fishing pressured lakes close to metropolitan areas. So it's a cool concept, because one thing we complain about is, as anglers, whether ice fishing or not, is that everywhere's overfished, right? Well, these guys are fishing these metropolitan areas, very pressured, catching lots of crappie. And they've said this year, this winter specifically, now they've had ice in Minnesota the last 2 years, but not as much. And so a lot of waters didn't get as much pressure as other years. And so I think the consensus right now is a lot of lakes are producing, in general, better than average fish, because we've missed 2 ice fishing seasons. And ice fishing, and I know George is on the call, but ice fishing, it can be incredible pressure on some of our fisheries. And, you know, in fact, we've seen some of the regulation adjustments over the years with yellow perch on Lake Simcoe because of ice fishing and the pressure that it has on, they can fish for perch year round, but ice fishing is a great pressure on our resource. And so I think that we're seeing that this year, Scotty, a lot of bigger fish, and just in general, a lot of fish being caught. And I think too, a lot of people, there's a lot of catch and keep mentality in ice fishing. Like, I won't lie, fish taste better through the ice. I do it myself. I don't keep a lot of fish through the year, but I tend to keep my fish during the ice season because I think that it's a better quality product, to be honest. So George chimes in. There appears to be more fishing effort this winter, but no real difference in the average set. There we go. So there's a greater. So that's part of it too. With greater pressure of ice fishing, more fish are being caught because more people are fishing more lines in the water too. So this is some of the bias that researchers look at when they're trying to study the demographics of angling and how it changes. And so we're seeing more fish caught because more people are fishing too, Scotty. So, right.
And it's great to see. And I would never, ever, ever, ever want to discourage people from fishing. But the other thing that I have been seeing more prevalent this year, in addition to larger fish, is the amount of questionable ice folks are fishing on. Now, I don't want to get into a great debate, and I certainly don't want to call anybody out. And maybe that's what is not happening like it used to in the past. maybe social media was unforgiving, and when you did post stuff like that, you were called out on it. I would like to say that some of it is sort of going under the radar, and people aren't questioning a point of mentioning it. But at the end of the day, I need to stress that. And one of the reasons it needs to be stressed is something that happened to you this past weekend that I think you need to share to folks, because it is certainly.
Yeah, I'm gonna share. Let me share a couple quick pictures first, and then I'll talk about the good stuff, and then the challenging stuff. So this is Nolan Isaac. Nolan is a buddy of Trevor's from the St. Catharines Junior Bassmaster program. I see Mark Penner's on the call tonight. Mark's the grand poobah and leader over there. So this past Saturday, we went out on Lake Erie looking for pike, and got a good tip from some friends in the local area, and we expanded on some knowledge that they gave us. And this was we did tip up fishing. If no one's done tip up fishing, you got to be patient with tip up fishing, especially for predators, right, Scottie? So, but this is Nolan's personal best pike. This pike, we didn't measure it, but it's mid-30s. We're guessing. We did measure some pike later in the day. This was our biggest of the day, using dead bait in shallow water and flags. And you can see the ice there. It's like glare ice. All that rain we got on Friday. So Scottie, where you were, you guys got snow on Friday. We got tons of rain, like half an inch of rain down here. And it was like a Zamboni on Lake Erie. So we had to wear our cleats on the weekend. But what happened on this particular day, I'm going to close this up here, is we went out now, and this is where I always tell people to just be cautious, because you can't take ice for granted. And now on Lake Erie, there is a ton of ice right now on the inner bay of Long Point. Anywhere from, I would say, 8 to 10 inches on average. But these big lakes, it's a large embayment of Lake Erie, there's a lot of basically ice moving around. And what happened this weekend was, on Friday we had lots of rain, lots of water on top of the ice, and the ice didn't like melt and disappear, but it definitely hurt the ice in spots. And so there was a lot of cracking and groaning and stuff on Saturday morning. We had that flash freeze. It went down to even like -15, -17 here. And in the morning, the black ice, two-handed drive to the lake, which isn't great either. When we got there, Scottie, there was pressure cracks, and we crossed a couple of small pressure cracks in the morning to get out to our area. Wasn't too worried. You had the spuds, checked the ice, everything seemed fine. Like, the pressure cracks were very narrow. But when I came in later, Heather and Stephanie were on their way out to come to visit us, just to do a visit. Ice fishing, as you know, Scottie, very social, great time to hang out. Weather was awesome on Saturday. I walked back to shore, and the pressure crack closest to shore had not opened up, but there were some major pressure cracks that morning, major movement of ice, like where it shook us on the ice, and water had started to seep up onto the ice surface. And so now there was 50 to 60 feet of open water. It wasn't open to the lake bottom, but there was water on top of the ice, like ponding. And that's a little unnerving, right? So a lot of people who crossed the ice in the morning are now having to rethink. And there was people jumping over the water and taking chances. Now, I always bring my spud. I have a 2-piece Eskimo spud. I've talked about it on this show. I always have it with me. I always have our ice picks with us. I always have a backup plan. And that plan that day was we had no problem getting home because I had 2 different options. We had to check the ice to get off the ice safely. But I'll tell you what was really scary was, at one point, the girls were still on shore watching me walk back to the boys, which was about a mile out. And as soon as I sat down, there was a major pressure crack form. The two sheets of ice pushed together at the shore. It caused our hut to move a mile out. Our hut shook, and there was actually like water pushing up the pressure crack, like waves of water. And needless to say, Scott, does your family have like those find your phone apps where they can see where you are? Do you guys
Unfortunately, yes. They know where I am at all times.
So I have a screenshot of Heather and Stephanie tracking Trevor and I coming off the ice at the end of the day, making sure we made it back safely. And ironically, when I stopped, I crossed the pressure crack safely. I actually put a waypoint down on my Navionics apps because I'm like, we're going to come back in the morning and go fishing. Because I stopped and I had to take my gloves off and it was cold. Heather starts calling me. She's like, "Are you okay? You haven't moved." So they were tracking me while I'm coming off the ice and to make sure I was okay. And so needless to say, the girls had a very anxious afternoon after they did a lunchtime visit to try and see the boys on the ice. But the ice was wild from all that rain on Saturday. And it just goes to show you that ice is so unpredictable, especially on big lakes. You don't know. And I always tell people, be prepared. Be prepared. You don't know what's going to happen out there. But anyways, it worked out fine. Went out in the morning and we got skunked on Sunday. Scottie, if I told you that on a Saturday, bright sunny day all day, we went 5 for 6 on pike in our group, and a little busy, little better at the end of the day. The next day, it was overcast skies. It was a little bit of wind and nothing. We did not get we had a couple pike swim by the holes and look at our baits, but nothing happened. And we same location, same area, same baits. It was, I thought with the overcast skies, they'd be a little more active. It was like quite the opposite. So
that's weird because what I experienced was the exact opposite. That sunny day that we had Saturday, when it was sunny, was it overly cold? No, I wouldn't say it was. It was definitely colder Saturday than it was Sunday.
Yeah,
I want to say that it had something to do with that incoming pressure system that spawned some activity. But what you're saying is you saw a decrease in activity on the Sunday. That's weird.
Yeah, what happened on Saturday was interesting. Like we fished from, let's say, 9 a.m. until 9 till 5, basically, because we actually left our location at 5 because that gave me time to walk back to shore while it was still light out to get off. I didn't want to be taking any chances crossing in the dark on these areas. So we fished from 9 till 5. From 9 till 3, we caught 2 fish.
Wow.
From 3 till 4:30, we had 4. We lost 1, had 4 on. Like that. So 3/4 of our day came in an hour and a half at the end of the day. So I figured as the sun was getting lower, the action picked up. So and we were back out there. We walked out at first light. We were set up just after sunrise on Sunday, and we fished from 7:30 till noon, and we didn't get a sniff, barely a sniff. It was overcast, like so different. I thought for sure if the bite window was on Saturday night as the sun's going down, if we'd get out there in the morning, I thought there might be a morning bite window, and it might even be typically that if it's overcast, that bite window will be extended. Nothing. So now where we were fishing is shallow, 5 feet of water. These are predators. They roam a lot, and we're not fixed on any structure. This is all like a big, wide, sandy bay.
Right.
And so I think there's a little bit of randomness to what those predators do. Could have been played into it. But anyways, always learning, man. That's what's the joy of fishing. Always learning.
Interesting. Now, I have to ask you this question, and thanks for that, by the way, because I think it's a good reminder for folks. Were you using flashers or were you using any live scope?
Good question. So we had flashers, no live scope, but because we are only allowed, so we're allowed 2 lines each, right? So actually for most of both days, so most of our success came on tip-ups versus jigging rods. And we had jigging spoons, like we use for pike, we use the big flashy spoons, rattle baits, different rattle baits we experimented with, and we did catch one on a rattle bait. And we had some lookers on rattle baits. So what I kind of instructed the boys to do was, as a team, I said, look, you two keep the rattle baits going. I'm not going to, I fished a bit, I jigged a bit, but I opted to use my 2 rods as tip-up lines. So we had more of a spread. And all we did was we took turns tending to the tip-ups. As you know, like these things can get, even the insulated ones get frozen in the ice if it's like -10 or colder. So we just took turns with a scoop, walk around every 15 or 30 minutes, tend to the holes. And we caught fish. It was great, dude. Like, I'm out there with Trevor and Nolan and our good friend Vince DiStefano. Vince used to work at Fishing World. He's on Pure Fishing Pro staff with me. Came out and joined us. And watching the three of those yahoos like run and slide, like, and Vince has some, I think he took some video of this. I don't want to spoil it all, but I can't wait to see any video he's got where the three of them are like doing the full run and like overshoot the hole, right? So the flag's up, the tip up spinning, and they overshoot the hole. They have to like crawl back to the hole and they're all gathered around, and one guy takes the tip up, one guy gets the line, one guy sets a hook, one guy's got the camera filming. It was just total gong show. It was a lot of fun.
I see an Olympic event coming out of tip-ups. I really do. Yeah. I think some of the slides, some of the runs, some of the efforts that go into running at a flag that has raised or a tip-up that has gone down is truly as entertaining as the fish that comes out of the hole. Really is.
It's been a long time since I've tip-up fished. I won't lie. Like, it's something that I don't think I've done it in probably like 10 years. And to sit there for an afternoon and chase flags. Dude, it was fun. I didn't do any sliding. I just don't feel I need to be like laying across the ice. Although I did win fastest retrieval of a pike. So the boys timed me. We took videos of each of us. Like, we took turns, right? I got the third turn. I got the smallest fish. That's how it goes. The guy goes last and gets the smallest one. But dude, I guess Trevor said I pulled my pike in like 30 seconds where everyone else was like 2 minutes. So everyone else, you feel the line, you feel that pike, right? And then you get down and you pull hard. Well, and they just kind of hand over hand. I'm hand over hand, but I'm doing like full, like, come here, pike. And I'm doing, and it just shot out of the hole, like about a 24-inch northern just came flying out of the hole. It was pretty funny.
With a dislocated jaw.
Yeah. Actually, we did have, I don't want to say too much, I guess, but we did have one mortality of a perch that we had to bring home because it found Trevor's jaw jacker. I should mention this. So Trevor had the jaw jacker set for pike, not for perch. If anyone has ever used a jaw jacker, yeah, if anyone's ever seen the GIF of the hook set and the guy goes through the roof, like through the ceiling, that's kind of what happened. So, and I'm a little surprised that we had on that jaw jacker, we were using like big mackerel for dead bait. Yeah. But on the jaw jacker, he had just a big emerald shiner that we bought from R&R Outdoors in Long Point. We bought some minnows on Saturday morning, and yeah, that perch grabbed a hold of it like an 8-inch perch. So, anyways,
boom! Wow,
felt bad for the perch. So we added to our perch supply.
Let's take a moment for the perch.
Yeah, take a moment. The perch, the jaw jacker. He had his jaw jacked, as we would say.
So it works. Hey, I think that's great promotion for jaw jacker. It works.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, dude, breaking out some of the old flag tip ups, and I broke out some of the cheap dollar store bells, and like it clipped them on the end of because the flags, if it was a bit windy, so you wouldn't see the flag always, and we were kind of hiding in the shelter out of the wind. So you just hear that bell, right? The flag would go up, and you would just hear a little ding ding, and everyone would go tearing out of the shelter. It was a lot of fun.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
The reason I asked about the flashers and the live scope is something that I know some of us has talked about, and big shout out to Richard Dunlop for sharing this to me. Something that I saw. Larry Smith is someone that I follow on social media, and I do enjoy his content. He shared this, which may not be a negative thing. All it does is basically help folks who have it use it for what it was intended to be. And I'll let Larry explain it from there.
Oh, we're using the live scope as a searching tool, and then the boys are hole hopping with the Vexlars with less power, less frequency, so you're not disturbing the fish, because today I've noticed that when I'm by the live scope that the fish are staying within like 20 feet of it. They're staying a little bit of a distance from it. So like right now, so I'm going to spin it, and there's a nice little school at 70, And see how they kind of stop at 20? They're swimming away. It's like they can feel that. So I'm just using that to kind of, tell me where to look, and then I can tell the boys, hey, we got to drill a hole that far, and they can walk over there with the Vexar, a little more stealthy, not disturbing the mass of school with running around with this thing.
And I have to say, for again, I don't want to point out the obvious, but forward-facing sonar, that's kind of what it was intended to be. And I remember when it first came out, that's what they used it as the selling tool. And I'll never forget it because I'm pretty sure it was someone that was sponsored by Clam, because he was in a clam hut and it was a pullover and he was walking around on the ice and he was steering the transducer to show people the bluegill are in that direction 50 yards away. Yeah. So what it has turned into, if you will, is, of course, this technological advance that has created hysteria through the fishing industry. But at the end of the day, we have gotten away maybe a little bit on what it was intended to be used for. Not necessarily to mark and target fish when we're over top of them, but at least just to find them and then to use some of the other technology that we've used over the years to better our chances of hooking up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Scottie. Like, some of the best uses I've seen of forward-facing sonar is ice fishing for exactly what you just showed. So, especially when it comes to suspended schools of crappie, and even schools of mobile perch that are like, you'll see those two species school up quite a bit. And and what's nice about a flasher is that depending what bait you're using, if you know how to use a flasher well, you can use it on very low power and get a very strong reading. Like, that's why I like using flashers and using the tungsten jigs, is because with the tungsten jig, it's a tiny target but high density, so it shows up really well at low power. So you can really adjust your settings, dial it way down, and you're not getting as much power going into the water. And so, and I've seen this used with both forward-facing sonar, but also with like Humminbird 360, and before forward-facing sonar, they would use a Humminbird 360 setup, just one unit for a group of anglers, and you would let for folks that don't know, 360 is basically like side scan radar, and as it's scanning, you see the structure and see the fish, and then you just walk out to where those fish are. Part of that, though, is I guess you have to be cautious, though, because I do know that when you drill over top of fish that are in a bit of a bad mood, they can be further spooked. So you have to move pretty quickly. But the idea, though, especially on those fish outside of like further away, like he was talking about 70 feet, if you have someone with a good electric auger, now electric augers are much more quiet than gas augers back in the day too. So you can be extra stealthy with these things. And you basically have an auger and a flasher. And then if I'm on the forward-facing sonar, Scottie, I'm directing you, and I can actually usually tell, like if you punch, as you're punching your hole, people don't realize this. If I have my transducer properly, I'll back up here, I can actually see you drilling your hole, right? Like I can actually see that disturbance on the top of the cone. Wow. And then I can actually tell you, yeah, you're over them, or no, you're too far past them, and I can tell you got to drill another hole closer or further
Never
out.
even
So
thought of that. That's
if you tilt the transducer enough, I can actually see your auger coming through the ice. I can see it coming down. It's amazing to be so efficient. Like, actually, it's kind of like, I guess I'm a comic book guy, but it's the great power comes great responsibility, like with Spider-Man, right? So it's like, wow, that we can really decimate a population of fish here with that technology if you're not careful, right? So
100%. And of course, as we have talked about it before we even went live, this year is obviously different than last year and the year before that when it comes to the availability of ice. We won't say safe ice, but availability of ice. And of course, people are taking full advantage of that. We're seeing lots of huts out, lots of folks out enjoying. I don't know if it's a combination of a lot of things, but I want to say there's a healthy mixture, as you and I both talked about, folks out there enjoying what it is that ice fishing brings, but also there's a lot of people out there, stocking up and maybe filling the freezer. And again, I'm not here to debate the issue of barrel trauma, because it is a thing. But at the end of the day, do we need to keep all fish? Absolutely not.
No. But what's great right now is, back to your point about ice fishing and just having good conditions.
Yeah.
Like excuse me, Scottie, even down here, like the long range forecast, we got up to +3 today. We're going to go back down to -7 or 8 tonight. And even over the next 2 weeks, the temperature graphs are very stable. They're kind of like daytime highs are like single digit minus temperatures, and then nighttime lows are like even like where I am, it's mild, but -10, -12. Like that's not going to make a whole lot of more ice, but we're not losing any ice. Like it'll slowly add ice to that. And we're at the point now where the bigger water bodies, we're locked in now, and it'll take an awful lot of wind to break that up. So I think using us down here as a bit of the guinea pig, we should have safe ice on most of our lakes now for the foreseeable future. I'm going to guess, like typically, if we get ice past February in southern Ontario, we're doing well, right? Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah. So I think February is going to show up well for ice fishing, at least until after Family Day, and probably beyond that. And then if we still have ice in March, that's a bonus at this point, because we've had 2 years of almost no ice for southern Ontario. This is great, and geez, if this keeps up, we're going to be seeing George's going to be running extensions on his augers up in Nipissing. So get those extensions out, George. You got to keep, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're outlawed the use of extensions to protect the walleye fishery. I don't know, but either one.
and as much as I would love to see folks attending the shows, I totally get it. I totally understand. When it comes to ice fishing, we haven't had years like this in the past, so we need to take advantage of it when we do. But also we have to keep in mind that this season, although it seems never ending when it comes to winter, when it comes to ice fishing, keep in mind, and this was Donnie actually from Hotbox Huts reminding me of this, because I said March is wide open. We've got a lot of times and dates to play with in March, and he says, well, keep in mind, the hut's got to be off on the 15th, which I totally forgot. So it is a small window. It goes
fast. So I know this weekend, I told you on Sunday, I got plans with calling in a favor. Had a friend of Heather's call me and say, I really want you to take people out fishing for me. I said, no problem. So we're going to do that on Sunday. A good friend of mine, actually, Chris Kershaw, I'm going to give a shout out to him. He's running the taxi service down at Collins Harbor. He has a hut out on Erie. Told his friends on Facebook, anyone want to borrow my hut? And I'm like, dude, I will borrow your hut, because the folks we're taking out, father, son, they're not as DIY ice anglers as we are. So we're taking them out on Sunday. So it's just going to be a good day with family and friends. And then we're into the spring fishing show. And then I got Family Day off. So we always try and go ice fishing on Family Day. So I'm sure that will happen. And then after that, I hope we'll get some good ice I'm hoping we'll get some good ice, at least up until the Sportsman show. So, and that's going to go by, dude, it goes by so fast, Scottie. And the thing about ice fishing too is because the days are so short, it's not like in the summertime where I can go out after work. Yeah. It's like I can go out after work, but I got to go quick. I got about 2 hours. That's it. So, ice fishing season is short, and you got to make the most of it while you're out. So,
amen.
Yeah.
Jay, where are you headed this weekend? Are you able to say?
Yeah. We're going to Long Point Bay. So,
nice.
So my buddy's got a permanent hut off of Collins Harbor. And so we're going to take advantage. And I'll give a big shout out to Collins Harbor. If no one knows where that is, look up Collins Harbor on Facebook. They have a taxi service. I've talked about it before on this show. They have I think this year they're running a big side-by-side, but in the past they had an Argo. See, they have an Argo connected to a sled with about 10 seats on the sled, looks like a school bus. And then on the back of that sled is another sled that's just a flatbed sled. So if you're a DIY ice angler, you just put your shelter, let's see how to flip over, Scottie, put your gear on the rear sled, hop on the bus. They take you out over a kilometer, and from there you can venture out on your own. It's $15 per person to park, and they sell minnows, and you can park. You can drop your stuff off right beside the taxis pick up. Like, it's awesome. So, you know, as much as I love going off the beaten path and avoiding the crowds, I'm going to dust up the elbows and get the tinfoil on the knuckles ready for Sunday. And we're going to go fish. We're going to go chase some yellow perch out of Collins Harbor and make the most of a, you know, it'll be crowded. My buddy's got a side-by-side and he wants to bring it. And, you know, you get those unforeseen urges to use a toilet in the middle of the day. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So I said, maybe the side-by-side might be good for the, I don't have those issues. I think my body is so trained to working on the water all the time that my body kind of knows when I need to do my business. But I think let's bring the side-by-side. So if we want to run in to take a break, we can do that. So yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then we got to watch the Super Bowl, and I don't care. Can both teams lose? Is that possible? Can we have both teams lose? Yeah. Scottie,
sure it's possible as long as Trump's the president of that, that wonderful nation. Though I will say, for those who are going to be watching the Super Bowl, are you like me and you've seen enough of KC, or do you want to see KC win the third championship? And you just are like me, a Dallas fan, and you hate Philadelphia. Like, where do you stand?
Well, geez, dude, it wasn't that long ago where KC was like so popular because everybody wanted everyone to beat Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember like cheering for KC 5-6 years ago because you wanted someone to break the Brady dynasty, and they did. They finally did. But now we're kind of tired of all the drama that goes on with KC. I didn't mention, actually, before we go, last week we had Jeff Penner on, Jeff's Jigs, talking about jigs. And the next day we spent 2 days ice fishing. And poor Jeff and Trevor, dude, it was 35 to 40K winds, gusting up to 60K winds. Like, I ran out of pegs to stabilize the huts. Like, it was, we didn't even get to fish like Long Point Bay. I said to the boys, we're not going out there. It's going to be a nightmare. We fished small water, small ponds, small channels. And even there, we were getting the crap kicked out of us. And I wasn't worried about the ice opening up where I was because it was a lot of ice and it was sheltered. But man, trying to set up huts when it's like that windy and cold, it was not a pleasant 2 days. And when it's blowing like that, the fishing is not that good when the weather's like that either. Like, the fish are just off. So I feel bad for Jeff. I hope Jeff can come back down again. And they had a break in exam week. I thought it'd be a great midweek trip for the two boys, but that's fishing though. So hopefully we get Jeff Penner back down here for some ice fishing again, maybe after the spring fishing show.
100%. And I will say this in honor of Mr. Mercer. Hopefully the Chiefs win. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, I really hope.
I'm a good sport. May the best team win. May the best team win. It's like no problem. I will be happy. My Bills didn't make it in, so I'm not going to go about. There's been so much controversy about that game. It's happened. It's in the past now. I think they have a good team going forward. Big fan of Josh Allen, not just his on the field stuff, but his off the field. That guy's just a great guy. Stand up. So
and I will mention this only because we have talked about a lot of things on the show tonight.
Yeah.
So you know what, a little bit more about football.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment because it's not something that I buy into, but the conspiracy theories that have been circling the KC team and of course the officials and some of the calls that have been made during games. I'm not one to buy into the conspiracy theory, but after the Buffalo game, I became a believer that, you know what, there's a little bit more to this than what people are saying. And loving football, being a part of it for as long as I have, at the end of the day, there were some missed calls.
Yeah.
Having said that, and I want to take this opportunity because I'm not a Buffalo fan, but I became a Buffalo fan after that game. You didn't hear any of them pissing and moaning about the calls. You didn't hear the coach go off on a rant because of how bad the calls were and how they didn't get the calls that they needed. You didn't hear Josh Allen talk about. You didn't hear about anybody talking about what was so obvious to everybody that the Bills, for lack of a better way of saying it, got robbed of a game, at least of it being somewhat closer than what it was. a big shout out to the Bills. You know what? You took it. You took it on the chin. And
Classy.
I will say this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I have become a Bills fan just because of how they conducted themselves after that
I
game.
agree, and I'm big on that too. Like, you know, that was a classy move on their part. They didn't have to be as good about it as they were. And I've said it before on this show, when it comes to some of the drama that we talk about, like, it, dude, sometimes you get a nosebleed, you're taking the high road so high, you know, and those, shout out to those guys for taking the high road. And you know, it was a tough game to lose again. And KC, they played well. Like, calls went their way. I don't want to get in the conspiracy of it, but when you start hearing like some of the pundits that I've respected over the years, including Pat McAfee, bringing up stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't a very. I try to avoid that stuff, but I start to look at it like, man, those calls were pretty questionable. There was a very one-sided game at times, but it's sports, man, and it's you know, one more thing to look forward to. Stephanie's cheering for the Chiefs. She's a big Tay fan, so her and Rick Mercer are cheering for the Chiefs. I'm probably got to cheer for Philadelphia just to be in the house and cheer for the opposite team. But I don't even want to cheer for Philadelphia, Scotty. So I don't know.
I can't cheer for Philly. As a Cowboy fan, I just can't cheer for Philly. It's not in my blood to do that.
I do like Jason Kelsey, and I respect that guy. I think he's a pretty good guy. But I'm just gonna enjoy some chicken wings, dude. I'm gonna probably break my diet that day. Have some chicken. Hopefully have some perch. Never mind chicken wings. Hopefully have some fresh perch.
Well, there's a man who will be on the edge of his seat for the entire game.
Oh yeah, right
George
there.
Morgan, riveted right on the edge.
Yeah.
You won't even go to the bathroom to lose a second of the action.
Yeah, he'll be out there in his permanent shelter with a 60-inch television. Yeah, watching the big game.
Right on, Jay.
Eating all them walleye, all those Nipissing walleye with it, measuring a slot. I know.
You have
Awesome.
yourself a great weekend, dude. We'll be thinking of you, and as I said, we will do our best in your absence. To
dude,
correct.
good luck on Sunday, buddy. I hope it works out really well. And yeah, it's there. People are talking about it, dude. I've had people reach out, like not just you, but many others. So I hope for good things. I really do, and I think that there's no good time for these shows. I said this to Trevor on the weekend. It's hard to, you know this better than anyone. It's hard to line up these shows, but you have such a loyal following down there in Chatham of the usual suspects. You're coming to their neighborhood, and they want to show you a good time. So it's going to be good, dude. I feel optimistic. So
I will take it. I'll take it,
right.
man. Because at the end of the day, we don't know, and we will never know. But
Yeah.
It for all those who are show directors, promoters, and just are a part of helping out with these wonderful shows that we get the chance to go to. I feel your pain. It is something that can be extremely stressful if you let it. But
well, big shout out to the Parker family, because I know they've been really pushing it.
Huge, man.
Huge. Please say hi to the Parkers for me, and I miss them, and I look forward to seeing them soon. Absolutely,
Amen, brother.
All right.
Right on, Jay. You take care of
bud.
yourself. We'll see you on Monday. Peace. Always a pleasure to have Jay. We missed Lawrence tonight. I'm hoping he's okay. I know he's trying out a new camera, and he was having audio issues before we went live tonight, but hopefully he's okay. Nice to have Jim on here. He's been battling illness, but irregardless, guys, you know, and Jeremy, to your question, yes, we will be up in the Spanish area. It will be an expo. It'll be a smaller version of what we're going to be doing in Kitchener, Chatham, and of course Niagara Falls, but it will be somewhat as close to a facsimile of what the Made in Canada Tackle Show and Marketplace is. But nonetheless, yes, we are trying to get to all locations, all venues, so that we can do, as Jay just said, reward our following. You know, you folks are so loyal. We truly appreciate everything that you do. We just saw what went on in Saskatchewan. Those are a bunch of people that didn't necessarily know one another before the Ice Jam was put together. And now you've got, 20, 30 people who can't wait to do it again next year. This is what it's all about, folks. If you're like-minded and you truly are on the positive kick, on the positive side of things, and you're just sick and tired of the negativity and all the rhetoric that's been going on the regular, you know what? Come on over to CFN. It's not such a bad place. At the end of the day, we're all like-minded. And we all have similar wishes, ethics, and desires to want to be conservative and do things the right way to make sure that we ensure that there's fishing of the future. I implore you, I empower all of you, come on over and bring a friend with you, because at the end of the day, this is a community that's continuing to grow and grow for the right reasons. And I want to thank all of you for that. Yeah. So on that note, I will say, Dave, take us away as we always do. I want you folks to have yourselves a great week. We are going to be having a Wednesday segment. I'm not sure if it is the Elliott. I think it's the Elliott Lake folks that are coming on about their ice fishing derby. So if I got it wrong, it's either that or Wawa. I'm not 100% sure. There's just so much going on. But needless to say, we are going to have a live on Wednesday. Me and Danny will be talking to someone in regards to an ice fishing derby. We invite everybody to join us Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. In the meantime, have yourselves a great week. Love you all. Dave, take us away.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end.